in our lives, the inspiration is from Baba. Our enthusiasm, our courage comes from Baba. As soon as I look at Baba, I feel very light. Also feel very strong. So with our third eye, I connect with Shiv Baba. And with these eyes of the body, I connect with Bab Dada. As I take drishti from Baba, I feel very full. And as if I am in my original stage, my eternal stage. Being full of love, peace and happiness. Lot of power. Light and might from Bab Dada. And I keep taking it through Baba's drishti.
Om Shanti, welcome to Vyakti Parivar. So today is a special day. We are starting our bhakti from tomorrow. 21 days bhakti, self-sovereignty. So tomorrow's title, Baba is the Jewel Merchant, Elevated Sanskar, Roop and Basant. This is from Murli, and Didi will explain more, and we'll also let you all know what exactly we'll be doing, how we are doing our chart. And before Mohini Didi start sharing with us, let's see how we soul as self-sovereignty sit on our throne.
सिंहासन पे हम आत्माएं राजन बने और शासन चलाएं कर्मेंद्रियां कर्मचारी हमारी भ्रिकुटी बीच दरबार अपना सजाएं मस्तक सिंहासन पे हम आत्माएं राजन बने और शासन चलाएं
Om Shanti. How do you feel? How do we all feel looking at this? This thing. थोड़ा जोर से कह रहे हैं. How do we feel? नहीं सुनाई पड़ रहा. Because last Sunday, Baba was talking about self-sovereignty, and Baba said, children ask, will I become sovereign or subject? Baba said, you should ask your own self. You should keep the chart. And Baba was then giving the explanation in chart what you should look at, that you are three ministers: your mind, power to think, your intellect, power to discern, and your sanskaras, that means your personality. Are they listening to you, or you are influenced or controlled by them? It's something very subtle. I am controlling my mind in the sense, whatever I tell my mind, think about this idea, think about this plan, or whatever thoughts, then mind listens and mind doing that. And then intellect also, and same is sanskars. So I have three, Baba said, ministers, and they should cooperate if I am sovereign. But if I find this conflict between mind and intellect, conflict between intellect and sanskars, or sometimes they are not cooperating, they are not obedient. That means somewhere I do not have power as a sovereign to govern them, to control them, and make them cooperative. Just imagine for a few moments that if all three cooperate and all three are in total in harmony and love, that means internally I feel this harmony. And then also whatever I have to do as a sovereign, I find lot of cooperation. And then all the organs of the body as my subjects. So of course we have to keep checking. One of the question which in the beginning, when I came in Gyan, we used to ask ourselves, what I have to change first? What will change first when I get knowledge? Mind has to be changed, intellect has to be changed, or sanskars. What has to be changed first? Then with the experience, understanding of knowledge, I realized that first intellect has to change. That means now my power to discern will be based on knowledge. Before it was more on whatever was heard from outside, different information. So when intellect is sensible, has power of knowledge, then intellect is able to guide mind. Because mind will have many thoughts back and forth. If I have to do something, should I do it, not do it? So keep thinking. That intellect uses power of discern and guides the mind that you should not be doing this or you should be doing this. And then after that, whatever is determined, then we do action. And then action creates sanskar. That means that imprint is left of every action. It's called sanskar. And now again, whatever is your sanskar which you created will emerge in the form of thoughts, will help the intellect to have power to discern. So actually, all the transformation begins with the intellect. So that's why Baba said to have divine intellect, pure intellect, have yoga of intellect with Baba, so that we are able to guide the mind, and then our words and our actions will create sanskars. But our aim is now to, from Baba's Murlis, we will take one of Baba's title, because Baba's titles are based on what he does at present, what actions he performs for transforming the world, to create the new world, golden aged world. So Baba describes about his titles that this is what I am and this is what I do. So what we would do is to take that title, and the aim is that I should also do what Baba is doing or create sanskars like Baba. It's only when we will do according to, the quality, the title, I have to do that action, so that sanskars become like that. So when sanskars are like Baba, then just imagine our thoughts, our intellect will automatically be very, very divine, very godly, and of course very cooperative and totally under my control. They will be naturally cooperative. I don't have to control them. And that is the stage of self-sovereignty. So it's an example that what today we will take, it is from Baba's Murli of tomorrow. So tomorrow when you will read Murli very carefully and take notes, write properly about Baba as jewel merchant, Ratnagar. Merchant means Sodagar, but Ratnagar means jewels, merchant of jewels. And luckily, in Sakar, Baba's part was also, his business was also diamond business, right? And one of the quality which Baba had for the success of the business of selling diamond was to know exactly what's the value of the diamond. Is diamond flawless or not? Diamond is sold definitely by weight, but also flawless. So the value is more and more. And it's so interesting that diamond actually is a stone, right? And from the stone, uh, how they create it in a way that it starts sparkling and it's like diamond. Baba says, children, when you are not able to understand, it's like intellect has become stone intellect. And no, there is a memorial of in Ramayana that this woman was cursed and had become stone. So Lord Rama was crossing the river and put the foot on that stone, and she changed into a very beautiful woman because she got free from the curse from the past birth. But those are stories, memorials. But now we know that before our intellect was so stubborn. It will not accept, it will not take, it will not inculcate, it won't understand. Baba comes and touches our intellect with the knowledge, and it changes into a very, very beautiful image. And here that image is shown as Rup and Basant. That means then you learn, you become the embodiment. Rup means your image, and Basant means what you shower or speak. Always, always jewels. So as Baba is Ratnagar, jewel merchant, we also have to see first in our mind, in our thoughts, always, always churning of jewels of knowledge. Same should be our words. I remember one time we had discussion that you wake up in the morning and you find that your stage is not very strong and you are instrument, you have to read Murli. So you are asked to read Murli. And you say, but I am honest. My stage is not good, so I won't read Murli. This was the answer, one answer. Other was, I will go and sit and read Murli because it will help me. But when I'm reading, to have power in Murli, I will remember God is speaking, not me. And I liked it very much because otherwise our stage fluctuates. So then we say, no, I'm not worthy. How can I read Murli? Because Murli has Shrimat and directions. But when she said it, that if we remember that I am also listening Murli while reading, it's Baba's Murli. Baba is giving this knowledge. It's not my knowledge. So this way, then the power also comes while listening. So speaking knowledge, and then every action, not only in soul consciousness, but based on knowledge that is Baba's Srimad. So that the sanskars which get created are sanskars of same quality of Baba, that is jewel merchant, and my own self as Rupa Sant. Rupa Sant is you look peaceful, very sensible, very wise. Your Rup, your image tells all the qualities. And Basant is, that's what you speak. No? There cannot be difference between your dharana and your words, right? As your image of peace, when you will speak words, Basant, they will be words of peace. So this way, during day, after we do 10 minutes silence after traffic control, take another 10-15 minutes and have a diary and keep your chart. We will tell you in brief how you write the chart. So why we want to do 21 days, I had this thought that at least we know in 21 days how many days we were sovereigns and made by ministers cooperative, all subjects in order, and how many days there was less percentage of sovereignty. Because 21 births is a long time. Baba said in one day, we said, no, at least let us give us 21 days. So that 21 births, golden age, silver age will also be of self-sovereignty. And I think that practice, attention, and experiment of it will give us very, very good feelings of what Baba is saying to be self-sovereign. Because it won't happen suddenly in golden age that I will become self-sovereign. I don't have practice. So that is why Baba always mentioned that this is the first birth out of 21. So first birth, I have to be, or I have experienced my characteristics, my sanskaras of sovereignty. Not as I give orders to others, no. All the kings, royal people, they are always very humble. They always are very respectful to everyone. They never abuse any authority, any power. So there is humility, there is respect, but also sovereign has lot of trust and confidence that everyone will cooperate so that I'm not deceived at any time. It doesn't happen that in the end something happened and I get deceived. No. So no sorrow, not getting deceived, but finding all the ministers and subjects as they are my uh, ministers or they cooperating properly. So it could be very subtle, but I was kind of excited. I thought, oh, that will be wonderful to experience every day by night time. So that is why you see a beautiful throne and a beautiful crown for you. So keep that vision, that throne and the crown, and sit comfortably and see how you feel. That is everyone cooperative, respectful, and that will be the experience of claiming our birthright, our inheritance from Baba. So your question will be answered, what will I become? Definitely we all are sovereigns, but let us experiment, create that sovereignty sanskars by using Baba's main titles, which we will take in 21 days. I'm sure you all will remain together with us and don't drop off that you do 2-3 days and all. Let's do 21 days. It will be good to at least continue with 21 days. So we all will be together doing this and sharing further about our experiences and what experiment brought to us. So good wishes for all the self-sovereigns. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So as Didi shared with us that we are starting from tomorrow, the day 1, our bhatti, and how we will be keeping our chart. Sister Gayatri will be with us and she will explain to us now.
Om Shanti, everyone. Good evening, good night. As you heard from Sister Mohini, these 21 days that we are going to be committed to are going to be 21 days for us to really look at what Baba means when he says that we should practice something for over a long period of time. The reason why he uses this term over a long period of time is so that we can strengthen something that is already within us. So sanskaras are already within us. And what he wants us to do is to strengthen those existing sanskaras within the soul of self-sovereignty. Before I take you through what we're going to be doing every day, I just want to read a little excerpt from one of Baba's Murlis in the past. And Baba said, "The unlimited Father comes and makes you into self-sovereigns. The sanskaras of a long period of time are needed from now to sustain the stage of self-sovereignty. In the new world, you will receive an elevated birth, and that birth too will be according to your sanskaras. You are now creating those sanskaras, and from these sanskaras, the world becomes new." So that part I wanted to read out because that's what Baba is saying to us, that the more we strengthen our sanskaras, it's the more we are able to sustain that stage of sovereignty. And the more we are able to do that, the more we are able to help our world. So on the inspirations of Sister Mohini, we will spend over a period of 21 days together to collectively experiment with Bapdada's titles, with Baba's titles, as a basis. His title will be the basis for us to cultivate the sanskaras that are in Baba, because when Baba tells us that this is his title, that title actually becomes a mirror for him to show us what his sanskaras are. So we, on connecting to him with that title that he's describing himself as, we are also inculcating sanskaras that are similar to his. So when Baba says, make your sanskaras like my sanskaras, it means that understand what I'm telling you about myself, and in this instance, through his titles, and inculcate those sanskaras. Now, at the beginning of today, you saw that beautiful PowerPoint on Sunday's Murli, in which it showed us, that PowerPoint showed us the method with which to inculcate sanskaras. And so we will be using that method, which you will see every evening for the next 21 days, as the method to strengthen the sanskaras of self-sovereignty. So we start tomorrow. And in starting tomorrow, we are going to use as a basis for these 21 days, every day's Murlis. So tomorrow we start day 1 with the Murli of Tuesday, November 20. Well, we start with the of November 24th, right? And so we'll be checking these different things in terms of our sanskaras with the Murli of tomorrow. So we'll be checking the 3 things of our how we are going to be looking at what Baba has said as a title about himself. So in that Murli, Baba talked about this title of Roop Basant. And he said it in a very beautiful way. And actually, he said it at the end of the Murli. And at the end of the Murli, what he said was that Baba is the jewel merchant. Each imperishable jewel of knowledge is an invaluable version. The story of Roop and Basant is based on this, Baba being the jewel merchant, and he has these imperishable jewel of knowledge. And the soul too is Roop and Basant. So we have chosen this elevated, or the title of jewel merchant, Baba being the jewel merchant, and we have chosen the elevated sanskara of Roop and Basant. So as you go through the Murli, you would then take this method of creating a chart based on check and change. And so what you will be doing is, as you read the Murli, you are going to be listening to things that Baba is saying that would help me to strengthen these sanskaras of self-sovereignty, but I'm going to now be putting it in and connecting it to this Roop Basant that I need to have. Now, sometimes Roop Basant is said to be a stage, but Roop Basant, in this Murli, tomorrow's Murli, Baba is describing it. The soul is also Roop and Basant. And so if I have sanskaras of being Roop and Basant, and I am now listening to the Murli, and Baba is saying he's the jewel merchant, and every invaluable jewel that he has come to give is actually in the Murli. So now as Roop and Basant, I'm listening to Baba being the jewel merchant and giving me all of this. So one of the things he said to us is that when we are in the world, the one thing that we tend to do is waste a lot of time tolerating sorrow. So when I'm reading the Murli and I'm saying at the end of the day when I'm doing my chart, how will I look at this aspect that Baba has described to me in the Murli, that I am tolerating a lot of sorrow? So as Roop and Basant, I have to see if there's anything that happened to me during the day that created a wave of sorrow in my mind and in my heart, then I know that, something happened. Now, and I need to put it in my chart. But what he also said, that the reason we tend to tolerate a lot of sorrow is because we become influenced by something in the world that is now causing us to go chasing after it. So he's saying you waste a lot of time chasing after shells. And in chasing after these shells, we forget the worth of being a diamond. And then what we have to do is tolerate the sorrow that comes from chasing after the shells. So he explained that to us in the Murli. So when, as a Roop Basant, I'm now going to, this jewel merchant, Baba has given me all these jewels to work with. So now when at night I'm checking my mind, and my mind, Baba said, is my power of thought. So I will have to ask the question, you will see it, it will come up later on for you to see. Was I under the influence of chasing after shells, as a result of which I had to tolerate thoughts of sorrow? So you're going to have to answer that question in relation to your mind. But along with checking, you're also going to have to change. And so in the Murli also, Baba told us how to get rid of having to tolerate these thoughts of sorrows and how not after chasing after the shells. And so how to return to that state of happiness. And what he's saying is to use this mantra of Manmanabhav to transform my thoughts. So in order to change, I need to know, did I use that Manmanabhav to transform my thoughts? So when I'm looking at my chart at night, I'm going to look at the mind in relation to something Baba has told me in the Murli. The second, now I will look at the intellect, and that is, Baba told us the intellect is the power to decide, but the intellect is also the power to discern. Now, another thing he told us, he will tell us in tomorrow's Murli, is that Baba has come to tell us, as the jewel merchant, one of the information he gave us, or one of the invaluable jewels he gave us, is that his task is to change this world and to make this world into heaven. And so he has come to do this task, but yet he's saying he is now changing. He used this word, you children now know that you are helping Baba to change the world for yourselves by following Baba's Srimat. So now he says you should keep this in your intellect, that what Baba has come to do in relation to the world, and then in relation to ourselves. And so the sanskara of being a helper, as Rupan Basant, I need to emerge something from within me in order to give to the world, so that I can be someone who is helping Baba in this task that he has come to do. And he, as the jewel merchant, is giving me all the jewels of knowledge to do it with. And so when I'm looking at my intellect as the power to discern and decide, what I'll be checking for is, was my intellect wandering with anxiety of what's happening in our country or in our world? So that means that the intellect will not be able to decide, it will not be able to discern, because it has become influenced by the anxiety that's been created by the state of the world or the state of the country. So in order to change that, Baba is saying, we need to return to the jewel merchant. We need to become Roop. We need to become the embodiment of something that the jewel merchant has given to me, so that I could stabilize that sanskara and become, stable, unshakable, and immovable in that sanskara. So I will change. In order to change it, I have to say, check. And after checking, I have to change it by, was I able to reconnect the intellect to Baba's invaluable versions? That means to what Baba is telling me to do as a Shrimat for the intellect. And then he says, when you, in the Murli, he's also explaining it, when you do that, you'll be able to feel an intoxication in the intellect. And so did I feel that intoxication when I reconnected to Baba's invaluable versions? So you're going to have to answer that, and you're going to have to tick it. And you may also want to say, what was the intoxication you feel? And then the third aspect that he said was about the elevated sanskaras. Now, this is what I have to sustain. This is where the strength of everything the mind checked and changed, everything the intellect checked and changed, it will land in my sanskaras. And now that is what I would have inculcated from the Murli. My sanskaras will tell me what I inculcated from the Murli. It wouldn't be my thoughts, but it would be an inner profound strength of a dharana, of an inculcation that occurred from the day's Murli. And so in checking my elevated sanskara of Roop and Basant, what I will check for, was I able, and he was also giving this a very clear explanation in the Murli, he was talking about being the Lord of the poor. He was talking about how, reminding us of what God takes in terms of wealth and what God doesn't take in terms of wealth. And he was talking about Sudama and his handful of rice. And he was talking about how poverty-stricken we have become. And Baba has come to take away the poverty-stricken, and Baba has come to give us a double crown. So when it talks about being poverty-stricken, we know that that's a state of the sanskara. And to be double crowned, we also know that's a state of the sanskara. That's not a state of the mind or the intellect. That's definitely a state of the sanskaras. So now I will check the sanskaras by this point that he has given me. And what we want you to check here is, was I able to discern between the double crown solvent sanskara and the poverty-stricken insolvent sanskara? Was I able to know what sanskara within me are still there because of an insolvent, poverty-stricken? And what sanskara is there in being double light and being solvent and being full of all of the imperishable jewels of the jewel merchant? And so that is what, and this is, of course, the intellect will help me to discern these sanskaras. And so then I have to, but I'm looking at the sanskaras. I'm not looking at the intellect. I'm not looking at what the intellect is discerning, but I'm looking at my sanskaras. And then to change it, Baba also told us that to change it, I need to become this Roop and Basant. And so was I able to become Roop and Basant in the form of one divine virtue? Because in the Murli, he's also telling us to imbibe the divine virtues in order to remove becoming poverty-stricken. If I want to remove the poverty-stricken sanskaras from within me, I need to inculcate the divine virtues. So what was the one divine virtue that I inculcated in tomorrow? You will have to decide that, in order to transform that sanskara from being poverty-stricken to becoming double light. Now, the divine virtue that Baba kept talking about, just to give you a hint that you may want to focus on, is a divine virtue of happiness. And so that's what you're going to be looking for, but also not just to look at the form that you have to inculcate, but also you need to look at the basant. Once I've inculcated it, once the poverty-stricken sanskara has been dissolved, then the double light form that will emerge will enable me to shower that light, whether I want to shower it as Sakash, whether I want to shower it as light from the lighthouse, however I want to shower it. But did I use it to shower on others? Now, finally, Sister Mohini is saying that these things, the chart perhaps is something you might want to use during your 10 minutes meditation. We are all doing 10 minutes after our regular traffic control. So you may want to look at one of these aspects. So you may want to use one of your 10 minutes looking at the mind, what's going on there, and looking to see what it's chasing after shells, whether you're tolerating any form of any thoughts of sorrow, and then you would want to change it with the Manmanabhav. The next 10 minutes, you may want to look at your intellect, and you may want to see, how you're able to, is the intellect wandering around the world and connecting to all the anxiety of the world, or is the intellect reconnecting to Baba and Baba's invaluable versions and Baba as the jewel merchant? And is that bringing me an intoxication? Am I feeling an upliftment as I'm looking at the, connecting to the invaluable versions? And then one of your 10 minutes, you may be looking at your sanskara of Rupa and Basant. But I would suggest that when you're looking at all three throughout the day, connecting it to Baba's Murli, do it in the form of your Rup Basant. Say that, okay, now I'm looking at the mind, but I am Rup Basant looking at the mind. I'm looking at the intellect, but I'm Rup Basant looking at the intellect. I am looking at the sanskaras of being Rup and Basant. And then with all, no matter which one of them, mind, intellect, or sanskaras I'm looking at, you must connect to Baba as the jewel merchant, because he's the jewel merchant who's providing you with the imperishable jewels of knowledge with which to help strengthen those sanskaras of self-sovereignty. And so, when Baba talks about these three being our ministers, he gave us, he says, no matter what, you could call them ministers, you could call them advisors, you could call them whatever you want. You could also call them cooperative companions. And so I chose cooperative companions because, words usually create a world within you. And so when I heard the word minister, I think politics. When I heard the word advisor, I think lower than, I don't have enough knowledge. But when I heard the word cooperative companions, I loved it because, my mind, my intellect, and my sanskaras are part of me. And if they're part of me, then they will cooperate with me in the way they would want to make me the highest. They would want to make me that self-sovereign. So this was the thinking behind the whole 21 days. And of course, I won't be taking you through this context every day, but every evening I'll just come on for a very short time so that I can just take you through the title, the elevated sanskara that we want to inculcate, and maybe just take you through a little bit of the chart. And so I hope this was helpful. And Bhumi Ben, if they have any questions, maybe you, Judy, or someone could answer, or I could answer. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sister Gayatri. That was very good explanation. And you actually covered everything. So I just want to add in that many are asking how we will get this chart. So it's very simple. We'll send you an email every day, email which we send. So for every day we have different charts. So this is the chart which is seeing in front of you on the screen is for tomorrow. So this slide you will get in your email. So you just have to tick what you did and what you're not able to do and what you had to do, whatever you had to write, you can do in this. And also we will compile everything like 21 days table we will send you where there won't be a question, but you can tick mark together. So you can have 21 days chart together as well. So you will see in email, so you will get an idea more. But also whatever Sister Gayatri explained to us, there is some writing also on that. So that writing also we will send you an email, so you can read and reflect on that. And also this whatever she shared, everything is recorded and it will be available on YouTube with the video which is you are seeing every day. So you can listen again and you can revise it again what exactly we had to do. And of course once we read Murli, it will be more clear as she was explaining to us. I hope it's clear to everyone. Thank you very much. And now we start our Avyakti journey. Swaman.
understanding the importance of the time of Amrit Vela, let us all experience that I, the soul, am an embodiment of light and might.
Om Shanti. So I, the soul, am an embodiment of light and might. So, of course, we have our homework starting from tomorrow for 21 days, but this is also one of the swaman if we want to keep in our awareness. Okay, now it's time to say goodbye, good night to Baba and each other. So let's remember Baba and take drishti from Didi, and let's take these few moments all together to go in deep remembrance of Baba and merge in Baba's love.
Om Shanti.